Whoops. Hey, Gov Seekers, what's up? Are you guys Gov seeking it? Are you out government seeking? Are you Gov seeking? Hello, what is up? My hair is completely out of control. I don't know what to do. I tell the guy leave the top a little long. This is not his fault. There's a lot of humidity where I'm at, and it just poops out in a kind of a crazy manner. So we've got sort of Marine Corps colonel here, and then like just a taste of rockabilly up top. You know, it's a little, it's like Colonel Rockabilly. You know what I mean? Major Stray Cat. So, hello everybody in the chat. Holly is our moderator. We have got an action-packed show today. Oh my goodness. Oh, Challenger business. Todd. Lee's changed his name to Todd. I don't know why. I don't know why the name Todd popped into my mind, but Lee now identifies as Todd. So we're going to celebrate whatever name Lee chooses now. He just has come out today as Todd. We want him. And I know this is driving him insane that he can't respond to this because
oh, I can respond, bitch.
He's just, I've had enough.
I think you came out today as odd.
I was so proud of myself. I went through everything and muted every microphone. Like I'm convinced it is
amazing that you actually got everything muted, but then I stepped away from the computer and I heard you say, whoops. Did something happen?
Well, now this was not my fault. All of a sudden my camera, I was ready to start the show and my camera just stopped working and I had to go through and reset some stuff in StreamYard.
Graham, I've been trying to tell you these glitches, they're not going to stop happening until you realize that when you're angry at someone you're emailing with, don't pee on your keyboard. Okay. It doesn't, it just makes things really screwed up for you.
I think they're going to feel my piss through my keystrokes. So I'm pissing on them.
Yeah, no, I know what you think.
It's too much for me to handle the muting and then remembering your name. I mean, it was just a lot to deal with today. It's just a lot.
It is. I mean, you were so close. I mean, Todd and Lee, they just roll off the tongue similarly.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to have some old relative named Todd Lee, Rutherford III or whatever that's in your family bloodline.
I probably have a few of those. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so since last we talked, the World War III,
just world peace, just pure world peace.
It is. I got to tell you, man, I had, Saturday night I got home and was just like watching some YouTube. I was actually going to just put on like some tranquil. I was just chilling in my apartment and wanted to just have beach. You can get these YouTube channels that are just like the beach, and I was just like, I needed just some chill.
I was just listening to a soothing socialist Christmas album. And yeah.
So, and then all the Irans, because it happened Saturday night, our time.
By the way, this is both times when he kidnapped Maduro and this psychopath invasion of Iran was like early Saturday morning, late Friday night.
Yes.
And yes. I guess that's to try and get as little media coverage initially. But then, of course, once they've done the initial strikes, he's hoping for as much media coverage as possible to cover up the fact that in free time he rapes children. So
yeah,
no.
yeah, and covers it up. And so and then it's such and so Sunday I just was like, I went on a bike ride. I hung up by the pool. I went to a movie.
We get it, Graham. You have an alibi. You didn't invade Iran. We get it. Okay. I was on a bike ride.
I just happened to be on a bike ride near a ballistic missile place, and it launched.
I didn't have anything to do with it.
Look, Lee, I wasn't anywhere near Iran. You know, come on. Everyone's asking, Graham, what were you doing Saturday? But it's so insane. And then, gee, shocker, Iran strikes back. It's funny, like when you hit somebody, they hit you back. It's weird. And then Trump says, we're going to avenge the deaths of these soldiers that you started it. What are you talking about?
It gets even better than that. Witkoff called those strikes unprovoked.
I mean, it's like, you guys are...
Witkoff said Iran's unprovoked strikes.
Unprovoked. Like, and your whole life,
you just assassinated the holy leader of the country. Like,
yeah. And look, of course, it's funny because I watch all the different news. I watch Fox, Al Jazeera, CNN. I watch all of them. And it's so fascinating to see. And this, every time America does a war thing, all the channels line up lockstep and become state media. All of them.
State media and war fetishism. It's like, yes. Look at like Brian Williams' famous line, you have to see a beauty in these weapons. Like,
yeah. And then they trot out all the generals to give their analysis, and it just suddenly becomes Super Bowl Sunday.
I know. I love the idea that we should turn to generals to analyze this shit. It's like, hey, here's a psychopath who spent their entire career, entire life based around being a psychopath, been indoctrinated their entire life. They've never thought for 8 seconds outside of this psychopathic view of the world, and they're going to tell us how to think.
Yeah. And again, it's all just like, and then it's fascinating to watch news from, I watched Telesur. I watched several,
hold on. It's Telesur, because Telesur is a gentleman's adult phone line that you can call.
Well, they also have a really good news outlet, so I call these gentlemen.
Telesur had some interesting coverage.
Hello, how are you doing? Here's what's.
Thank you for telephoning Telesur.
Oh, guess what's happening in the Middle East? But like, so I'm watching news coming out of India.
Fiery rocket for you right now.
Oh yeah, things are heating up in the Middle East, and it's a lot of hot thrusting explosions. What? But like, so I'm getting news out of India. I'm getting news out of all throughout Asia, because I'm in Asia, and so it's amazing how different it is. America's just like Iran, Iran's on its last legs. And then I'm watching this other media, and it's like, oh, they've hit all these US bases. There's probably 500 or 600 dead US people. They're accurately, from what I can see, reporting Iran's retaliation, how it's been hitting. And dude, there's 24 million migrant workers from Asia, India, Southeast Asia, the Philippines, that are all in the Middle East right now.
Yeah.
And something like 2.5 million Filipinos are over there. And one woman unfortunately died. She was in Tel Aviv. She was like somebody's nanny or something like that. And like
the Filipino nanny that suddenly the Israeli media outlets care a lot about. They're like,
I know.
They killed a Filipino woman.
Yeah.
And suddenly Israel, very concerned for human life.
Oh, suddenly. Yeah. And almost no reporting on the girls' school in Tehran that we murdered all these people. Like, that's almost
you mean in Israel's reporting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Almost in Israel and America's reporting. Well, Israel, no reporting about that at all. America mentioned it a little, but
there was some in American reporting, but I mean, it's interesting. It's like, some of these outlets like CNN stuff, CNN and shit. I mean, although CNN will be Ellison controlled shortly here, but they try and walk this line where they act like they do care about the 100 girls killed because they supposedly dislike Donald Trump. CNN does. But at the same time, they're doing the war fetishism. They're having the generals on. They're talking about, well, how can America win this? What's next? What's America hoping for after the like? They'll still do all of that. And of course, none of these outlets, none of them can mention the actual reasons for this obliteration of Iran, which is petrodollar, dollar hegemony, and the connection between Iran and China. Like, those are the core reasons. That's why the U.S. has been trying to collapse Iran for decades now. And can't be mentioned. Can't ever be.
You're seeing the connections of the chessboard with clearly it was like, if we're going to invade Iran, we have to get control of Venezuela because Iran has shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which is 20% of the world's oil supply goes through there. And the two countries that get the most oil from Iran through that strait are India and China. And so the U.S. is trying
to... So the calculation was it hurts China more than it hurts the U.S.
Yes. And what's going to happen now is, I mean, Iran bombing all of these American bases and all these other, Middle Eastern countries. I don't.
They even hit Cyprus. They hit the British base in Cyprus.
Yeah. I mean, Dubai, Qatar, I mean, like the UAE, Saudi Arabia. I mean, they bombed Saudi Arabia, man. They're not messing around. And then America's
unlike the U.S. that's killing so many civilians, Iran is specifically aiming for U.S. bases. Mm-hmm. They're aiming at places that are connected to the U.S. and Israeli war effort. And whereas, how dumb could the U.S. be to blow up a girls' school in Iran? Are they just that blind at what they're firing these precision missiles at?
And then have the audacity to be like, we're freeing the Iranian people. Oh God.
No, you're not. I guess.
And when I was watching this other reports that are outside of the US, media umbrella, it's like, oh, Iran has been stocked, but these are all drones and they cost $50,000 where our missiles cost $1 million each or whatever. And they've got stacks and stacks and stacks of these things. And it's like,
yeah. The number, like just in that 12-day war from last summer, the amount of money that Israel and the U.S. spent was like billions and billions of dollars, whereas the amount of money Iran spent on that 12-day war was like a few million or something.
Yeah. And the other thing, choking off China, I know the U.S. is probably like, ha. Well, now you're just making China go, all right, we have to back Iran militarily. And then Russia's going to come in and back it. You've already seen some NATO countries, Spain being one of them, just, nope, we're not backing the United States. So the United States is in a very short time it's going to be us and Israel, and that's it. And the rest of the world's going to go, bye,
I mean, sadly, I think a lot of Europe will keep being our butt boy, but Spain's been great, and so Trump has now announced they're cutting off all trade with Spain, which makes I think a lot of Americans want to move there. So,
oh, I know. I wish I was in Spain right now. It'd be fantastic. It's just like when I heard that he's cutting off trade, I was like, oh, good. So, and some Spanish reporter went, oh, so we don't have to get your awful food and your diabetes and your craziness. We're just stuck here having tapas and nice health care and
yeah. We're just stuck here enjoying actual peaceful life.
Yeah. It's 8 weeks vacation a year and just health care and okay, cool. How long do you think this thing is going to last, and how do you see it play out?
I mean, so it does seem like Iran is more prepared than the U.S. thought they would be. And many are saying, if you listen to Iranian spokespeople or people that support Iran, they say internally that most Iranians, yes, there's going to be differences in a country that large. There's going to be some people that are just like, Ayatollah's dead, woohoo! Yes, that is going to exist in any country. But they're saying the most people in Iran would understand it as an existential threat, understand this as an existential fight, and will fight with their lives to defend their country. And so if that's the case, then Iran's not going down. As Professor Jeffrey Sachs said, the U.S. will fail in this effort to collapse Iran. But that being said, the U.S., even though we are apparently, according to Wall Street Journal and many others, the U.S. and Israel is running out of interceptor missiles rather quickly, which means Iran can then far more freely strike Israel and other places. So that may be the end of it when Trump decides, okay, we've done enough because we don't have interceptor missiles left. However, if it's not about interceptor missiles, the U.S. could kill God knows how many millions of people in Iran. I saw a report that the U.S. and Israel are trying to strike the police forces in Iran to basically make a civil war more likely in Iran. So it's not like the U.S. I don't want to overstate that the U.S. They're just going to fail because Iran's awesome. The U.S. is a psychopath with a lot of guns. But it does seem like, Trump, despite being a psychopath, by the way, dictionary definition, go look up the definition of psychopath. You will check off every goddamn box with that man. But despite being a psychopath, it does seem like he prefers short obliterations of countries rather than long-term shit. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it lasts a few weeks. But I do just it's so fucking painful. And to watch all these innocent people just die in it. And the U.S. can do a lot of harm to people with just economic war. So it's okay, so they obliterate a lot of Iranian infrastructure. Then let's say a couple weeks from now it's over. The hot war is over. The U.S. is starving Cubans right now without firing a shot. So I don't know.
Yeah. And you wonder too, if it escalates, is there just going to be more sort of random terror cell stuff happening, like this shooter in Austin, Texas? I don't even know if this guy's real or not. He could be a deep state plant. I don't know. But is there just going to be more Iranians around the world going, okay, you're trying to wipe us off the face of the earth? We're going to blow up everything we can. Is it going to just be that? Is it going to be?
But you know what? Iran seems far more moral than the United States. Iran has never shown that they're willing to just kill a lot of civilians to scare the other side. There's also been a lot of reporting that the reason Iran, after all these decades, does not have a nuclear bomb is because the Ayatollah Khomeini, which Trump just murdered, has said for years, decades, absolutely no weapons of mass destruction because it's against Islam. There's a lot of reporting that is the reality. So maybe they're more likely to get one now that Khomeini's not there. I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing too is all these, Trump is losing a lot of his support. There's so many people saying, I didn't vote for this. I voted. He said, and all the videos of Trump going, why are we invading Iran? We should have fixed roads and this and that and the other thing.
Oh yeah, the video of him during Obama. He's like, Obama, if he gets reelected, he's going to invade Iran. No Americans want a war with Iran. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's really. I think the Epstein stuff and this, I think, are the two big reasons why he won handily. And he's losing a lot of those people very publicly. They are publicly, these big podcasters, they are public. This guy, Sean Ryan, is an ex-Navy SEAL. And he's a big, I'm a Second Amendment guy. I voted for Trump. And he has a huge podcast. And every episode, he's just I didn't vote for this. He's protecting pedophiles. Now he's invading countries. I was in a bunch of bullshit wars. I was fighting for this country in bullshit wars. And I'm done. And if this guy's saying it, and every week he just interviews some guy from Delta Force, another guy from all these these
and they're done with it.
They're all done with it. And so it's you're losing that crowd. You're losing the Navy SEAL crowd that voted for you. Wow. Okay, man.
I'm always amazed with, Joe Rogan is he said doesn't like what Trump's doing, and then he'll back off like a week later or whatever.
Yeah.
He has some quotes where he said, you know, what ICE is doing is horrific. And then a week later, he seems to be a fan again. I don't know. Peter Thiel gives him a call and tells him what he's supposed to say or something. But, but I'm always amazed with these people that Trump has lost who were like, I didn't vote for this. I'm like, what did you think you were getting? Like, how dumb, how bottom of the barrel dumb do you have to be to not know what Donald Trump is yet? Like, holy shit. You got 40 years of it. He says it every minute. He's lots of times he's telling you the truth. He's a psychopath on every level. And here you are going, I didn't know this would happen.
He bombed people in his first term. Epstein was arrested in his first term. And he said, Maxwell, I wish her well. I mean, like it's America. I've always said this, America's historical memory goes back about 6 weeks. And that's it. And that's it. So,
that's why we do a show called Government Secrets. If we ever get to the show.
Here comes to the truth. All right. I think mine's kind of a bummer. So
I mean, if you view Henry Ford writing Mein Kampf as a bummer, then mine's a bummer too.
I think that's just good. That's just good storytelling.
If you view Ghandi being pedophile adjacent, then mine's a bummer as well.
Oh God! All right. Well, I guess I'll go first. I don't know. Or I mean, I knew Ghandi was like in the CIA, but
oh, I don't even have that part down.
All right. Well, this will be a fun one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government Secrets with the two most censored comedians in the country, Lee Cap and Crab Hill up. So last a little over a month ago, the end of January was the 40th anniversary of the tragic loss of the Space Shuttle Challenger. And I remember I was in high school when that happened, and it really, really bummed me out and really shook me. And we know, so I remember hearing in the sort of report that came after it that, you know, they might have been aware that there might have been some problems, and they just pushed forward. Well, I dug a little deeper, and there was actually two direct instances. These several men were like, do not launch, do not do this.
Really?
Do not do it. 2 times. They pushed the launch. I don't know if you remember, maybe not, but I remember as a kid, it was becoming a joke in late night TV. They kept pushing back the Challenger launch.
What time of day did it actually launch? Do you know?
I think in the morning.
Because I have a vague memory. I was, what year was it?
86.
Yeah, I was 6 years old. I have a vague memory of them like bringing the classes in to watch it, but that very well might be Mandela effect. I might have made that up. So.
Oh. All right.
I know that the teachers and everything were frazzled. What it might have been is they might have brought the older kids in to watch it, and so some of the school had like seen it live. Like,
I remember it. I remember a couple of my teachers in high school were really excited because there was a teacher and there was a whole program of.
Yes. I remember that as well. We did like whole classes where they were like, a teacher's going to go up in space. Yeah.
Yep. And so when that happened, like my one teacher was Mr. Olson, my history teacher, was like, he was like, oh man, he was really, really bummed. I mean, he was really like, oh wow, this is
yeah.
So I got this from, okay, so there's a bunch of it's in Wikipedia, but I got this article from NPR as the 40th anniversary. So this is Bob Elbing was anxious and angry as he drove to work on the morning of January 28, 1986. He kept thinking about the Space Shuttle Challenger, cradled on a Florida launch pad 2,000 miles away. Elbing knew that ice had formed there overnight and that freezing temperatures that morning made it too risky for liftoff. So people need to understand it was about 26 degrees Fahrenheit, -3 Celsius when it took off in Florida. Florida had a cold snap. And so his daughter, Leslie, said, quote, he said we were going to have a catastrophic event today. And she worked at a NASA contractor called Morton Thiokol and was in the car in 1986 on a 30-mile drive to the company's booster rocket complex outside Brigham City, Utah. He said the Challenger is going to blow up, everyone's going to die, and he was beating his hands on the dashboard. He was frantic.
So you might be getting this, but so they knew this stuff could not do well in freezing temperatures or parts,
Yeah,
certain parts. But was there? Obviously, everyone was not so certain that the moment everything freezes, you're just like guaranteed an explosion.
Yeah, and this is what the article is going to go into. So it's called the O-ring, but in the article it reveals there was issues with the O-ring going back to like 1977, and that they were like, oh, but there had been several space shuttle launches that had no problem. So people were like, you guys are, you guys are overreacting.
Nervous.
Yeah, and then because of all the delays. And the media was talking about it, and Dan Rather even made some joke about it, which that was back when Dan Rather still held a lot of sway in the country. And late night talk show host. I remember that there was a sketch show called Fridays that came out in the 80s after Saturday Night Live, where Michael Richards started.
Yeah.
And they remember they did their news thing and like getting information on the Challenger, and then they cut to a guy that's in like an auto shop. And he's just got a stack of papers. He's like, Challenger. That was the head gasket. No, that's the 86 Chevelle. And they were making a joke of like, NASA can't get its shit together. And I firmly remember that. So there was a lot of pressure on NASA to get this thing up in the air. And it was the first time they had a civilian on it, which was the teacher.
And for you youngins out there, you got to remember that essentially without internet, most people did not have any. Well, there's no internet, but most people did not even have computers, really. Maybe corporations did, but it's like before that and before phones and everything, like pocket phones. There'd be news stories like this that would be all anyone talked about. It was like the entire country, because there was nothing else. It was like
there's nothing else.
There's no other place to get your news, really. Like there were stories like this where it was like everyone talked about one thing, and NASA back then was so tied up with like the pride of being an American, because NASA had been used in the Cold War with the landing on the moon. We've talked a lot about how we used Nazis to get to the moon, but at the time didn't really know that. So it's like NASA was like, America is NASA, we're the best, and all that shit. So it was like this American pride story that everyone's talking about. It's very different than today, where it's like the Winter Olympics happens and nobody knows a name of a single athlete.
Yeah, because you're not watching it. There was nothing else to watch. Cable TV was just starting. Like cable TV was just becoming a thing in the 80s. And so but not everybody had it. I remember I had to go to my friend's house to watch MTV.
Yeah. MTV launched around then, and I think there were 7 viewers.
Yeah. So the night before, Elbing and other Morton protocol engineers tried to convince NASA that launching in cold weather could be disastrous. The engineers had data, documents, and photographs that they believe provide convincing evidence of the risks, and Thilcoy executives agreed at first. Their official recommendation to NASA: do not launch tomorrow. What happened next is a story now 40 years old. The engineers fought like hell to stop the launch. The A problem with the Thulko's booster rocket design emerged during the second shuttle flight in 1981. After that Columbia mission, and after the reusable booster rockets were retrieved from the ocean splashdown, an inspection by company engineers showed evidence of blow-by in a rocket joint. The rockets were built like segments, like tin cans stacked on top of each other, where one segment joined another, 2 rows of this, and that's where the O-rings were. And they were supposed to keep...
Blow by on your rocket sounds pretty good, but this is a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is not the...
No.
It's not a good rocket blow boy. So there was 2 rows of these synthetic O-rings that were supposed to keep the rocket fuel from leaking out. Liftoff and early flight exerted enormous pressure on the rockets, causing the joints to twist apart slightly. The O-rings were supposed to keep those joints sealed, but on that second shuttle flight, searing hot rocket fuel and gases burned past the O-ring barrier in a phenomenon known as blowboy. 5 years and 24 shuttle missions later. So that's one of the reasons why they were like, oh, you guys are overreacting. 24 shuttle missions later, there was a special task force working on O-ring blowby. One engineer on that task force, Roger Boyce Jolly, wrote a memo 6 months before the Challenger disaster that warned of a, quote, catastrophe of the highest order, loss of human life if the O-ring problem wasn't fixed. Shuttles continue to launch despite the ongoing risk. Some blame that on something called normalization of deviance, a concept coined by sociologist Diane Vaughan in 1996 after she studied the Challenger disaster. And she concluded that even after the risk was identified, and even while it was the focus of concern and study, shuttle flights continued because the risk hadn't yet caused disaster. So it became normalized. 5 days before the Challenger's 86 launch, the crew arrived and they gave interviews, and one of them was Christina McAfee. She was the teacher. I don't think any teacher has ever been ready to have 2 lessons. This was attracting a lot of attention. This is why there was more press for this shuttle launch than all the other ones.
Graham, our chat is on it today. You must have been remembering a Friday's episode about NASA, but not about this launch. So prior stuff, because Fridays aired from 80 to 82.
Wow. Nice reference.
More Mandela effect. The older I've gotten, I was like, I don't think I actually saw the Challenger explosion in a classroom.
That's fantastic. Thanks for the reference. The TV networks didn't carry the launch live, but the teachers' classrooms across the U.S. rolled out TV sets so millions of school children could watch live feeds from CNN or NASA.
I remember that. They did that for that and the OJ trial. Those were the only 2 things that TVs were rolled into rooms for.
That's it.
It was just well, let's hear whether this guy who murdered some people is going to jail, and also rocket launches.
That's it. The night before, Bob Elberg and his colleagues had tried to convince NASA booster rocket program managers phoning in from Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama that the cold weather made launching risky. The synthetic O-rings lining the booster rocket joints stiffened in cold temperatures, and this would be the coldest launch ever by far. The engineers officially recommended a launch delay, but NASA officials on the line pushed back hard. The launch had already been delayed 5 times. The NASA officials said the engineers couldn't prove the O-rings would fail. One of those engineers, looking back on it now, 40 years later, says it was an unachievable burden of proof. Quote, "It's impossible to prove that it's unsafe. Essentially, you have to show that it's going to fail." Wow. NASA's resistance during the contentious, sometimes argumentative conference call eventually wore down the 4 executives in the Utah conference room. They and NASA officials on the line also heard one piece of data that fed their resistance. O-ring blowby had also occurred during a warm launch of 75 degrees. So what they said was, well, you had a bad reaction in 75-degree weather. Now you're saying it only happens in cold weather. And they were like, oh, man. So
there were probably a few in those meetings that were also like, look, we kind of knew we were going to blow up some of these folks. Like,
yeah,
you know, we've had some astronauts die a while back on some of the Apollos. We almost lost 3 more in that crazy one that Tom Hanks is going to tell us about in a little while. Like, they were like, look, we're that's what we do. We blow up some of these folks.
Sorry. And here, of course, is one of the hidden reasons that we didn't talk about, that wasn't really talked about. The company Thiokol had a lot at stake with this Challenger launch. The company's contract with NASA imposed a $10 million penalty for launch delay due to the booster rockets. The contract was worth $800 million, and it was up for renewal in 1986. The executives put NASA on hold so they could speak privately with their engineers. Russell, Elbing, Bolesjoy, and other engineers in the room were insistent. It was too risky to launch, they said. Finally, Thiokol Senior Vice President Jerry Manson polled the company executives. He and 2 others quickly agreed to reverse their early recommendations and approve the launch. Mason then turned to Bob Lund, Vice President in charge of engineering, and Bob hesitated and hummed and hawed, and I could tell it was such a difficult decision. It was all hanging on him, Russell recalls. He was representing both management as well as engineering, and in his hesitation, Jerry Mason said, Bob, it's time to take off your engineering hat and put on your management hat. Meaning,
yeah, you probably shouldn't have someone doing both engineering and management. Kind of makes you biased.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you think more about dollars than human lives. NASA's live feed showing launch preparations included this announcement from the launch control team. I have polled the technical community and you have our consensus to proceed with this launch. Good luck and Godspeed. Brian Russell, Bob Ebeling, and Roger Bolesjoy knew this was not true. They were part of the technical community and they never backed down from their recommendation to delay, but the launch director and other top NASA officials didn't know it. All they knew was that the lower level officials at the Marshall Space Center told them that Thiokol and its rockets were go for launch.
Yeah, so of course everyone on board and everything didn't know that there was a debate. Yeah.
The Bob Elbeling and a few others expected a disaster explosion at ignition. So when the Challenger lifted off and cleared the launch tower, there was a little bit of relief, but not for Bob Elbeling. My dad bent down to tell me this wasn't over yet and things weren't clear, and I could feel him trembling, his daughter said. Challenger go with throttle up. And that's when it blew up. And then he wept, his daughter said. And the silence room was deafening. There was no one talking. It was just dead silence. And then Dan Rather talked about, and then a special presidential commission began investigating a week after the tragedy, but initially failed to get the full story from NASA witnesses. At the first public hearing on February 6th, Judson Lovingood, the shuttle manager at NASA's Marshall Space, provided a truncated description of the conference with Thiokol. Is what the guy said in the first hearing. Quote, we had the project managers from both Marshall and Thiokol in the discussion. Lovingood testified. We had the chief engineers from both places in the discussion, and Thiokol recommended to proceed in the launch, that's not saying the whole story. That's saying that's just the upper management. It didn't mention that there was these 3 guys that were like, hell no, do not launch, There was no mention of the objections in the Thiokol engineers, so the commission moved on. 4 days later, a hearing behind closed doors, Lawrence Mueller, another top official at Marshall, said, we all concluded that there was no problem with the predicted temperatures. But this time, one of the Thurgood Enders was in the room. I was sitting there thinking, well, I guess that's true, but that's about as deceiving as anything I've ever heard, recalled Alan McDonald in the 2016 interview. He was the immediate supervisor of the engineers.
I wonder, I don't know that you have this, but how long it was till they told the American public that there was any kind of pushback before launch? Because for a long time they were just like, we have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
maybe it was alien space blasters.
It took a while, man. But this guy spoke up. McDonald spoke up. He said, I think this presidential commission should know that Morton Thoyokol was so concerned, we recommended not launching below 53 degrees Fahrenheit, and we put it in writing and sent it to NASA. And
they did put a horse head in his bed, but it turned out he hated horses, so he just kept on.
Then there was other closed door meetings, and then it was bits of closed door testimony leaked, but not the dramatic details of the decision-making process that failed to heed dire warnings for the disaster. Those details were finally revealed on February 20th, 1986, in a pair of stories for NPR's Morning Edition.
What year?
1986. It happened shortly thereafter, but it was only on NPR.
Oh, yeah.
It was only on NPR, and then this is now... Back then, like we were talking about, everyone only was talking about one thing. So when it came out at NPR, though, they were able to kind of not talk about it anywhere else. And they never really got into the thing, but they found other reports where the O-ring, they had issues with the O-ring dating back to 1977. They tried to hush these guys up, but basically that's, I know we're going long here, but that's basically how they could have prevented the Challenger. And it was mainly for money and politics. And then they took a little while to kind of reveal what actually happened. And then when they did, they sort of quietly revealed it on an NPR show. It never really made it.
I feel like it was years later that I started hearing a little more mainstream coverage about how it could have been prevented.
Yeah. They feared for their jobs, but it was
This is called capitalism meets strapping human beings to a 20-ton rocket.
Yep, and your lives are not as important when it's $10 million a day being lost on an $800 million contract.
By the way, before we get to the next segment, quick note to, I'm assuming, new viewer Songweaver, who has asked in the chat, why are we talking about Challenger? This is like 40 years ago. This is a show, Government Secrets, where we go over older history of government secrets. And in fact, Challenger is actually one of the younger stories we've talked about.
Yeah. You might want to go through our back catalog, new listener.
World War II. Do you guys have any idea how long ago that was?
Yeah, we've done stuff from the 1800s, guys. We've done stuff from when this country was founded and those lies.
Breaking news. Abraham Lincoln freed only the slaves that he had no ability to free.
Oh, yeah. We've done stuff on Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. And so if the 1980s seems a little old for you, this might be the wrong show. We might need something else.
Yeah, might be a different show.
So now segment number 2 with Lee Camp. Crushing more icons of...
Crushing more of Graham's heroes. So for those of you who haven't listened in the past few weeks, I've been going through this book of odd government secrets, historical secrets that most people don't know. It's called Hitler's Secret Jewish Psychic. and it's not all just about Hitler, but and so we've covered some World War II stuff. We've covered some Civil War stuff, Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin, so much. And so I do want to do a little bit more on Henry Ford, even though I don't know whether it was just a segment on Henry Ford or whether I did an extra segment or something we've definitely talked about how Henry Ford was beloved by Hitler. Hitler had a life-size painting of Ford in his office.
I remember when this is when you were doing all of the, you did a segment or two on all the American companies that were profiting off of the Nazis in World War II. And so this is part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And how American soldiers who were facing off against Nazis were surprised to see Ford trucks coming at them.
Yeah. Yes. I remember that segment.
So anyway, but I have a little more on Henry Ford. So I didn't want to leave this out because a little of this even shocked even me. So most of you don't need the early history of Henry Ford, but Ford was one of the world's most influential men in the first decades of the 20th century. His invention of mass production for motor vehicles probably changed the lives of more people more fundamentally than anyone else in those years. Starting in 1908, he produced his 500,000th car by 1914. By 1930, his 20 millionth car. One of every 5 Americans owned a car by then, and Ford had put out the vast majority of them. He was a notorious anti-Jewish agitator, though, who used his vast, and by the way, through a lot of this, rather than say Jews, I'm going to say blues or something so that the algorithm doesn't screw us. Because when you're quoting from Mein Kampf, the algorithm doesn't care that you're quoting from someone else. It's just he just said blues are awful. Anyway, used his vast resources to promote one of the most systematic anti-Semitic campaigns in American history. Largely forgotten today, it prompted Hitler to keep a portrait of Ford. We covered this in his Munich headquarters. They also gave Ford the top civilian honor, the Grand Service Cross of the Supreme Order of the German Eagle. Don't you also love that the Nazis also used the eagle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They love the eagle. Russia's got a 2-headed eagle.
So yeah, he was given the top civilian honor by Hitler, and he refused to give it back. There was a small campaign to be throw your medal back, and he was like, no, I don't think so.
It's pretty sweet.
Ford's efforts began in 1918 when he bought a local weekly Michigan newspaper called the Dearborn Independent. So the oligarchs buying up the media, that goes back a ways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's William Randolph Hearst, but that was his whole thing, was controlling the media through his newspapers and everything. That's how those guys did it.
Yeah, so Ford actually set quotas of number of newspapers to sell alongside the cars. So it was you're not just selling cars, you're also selling these newspapers, because he wanted to influence people, and he wanted specifically to influence them to hate the blues. Starting in May 1920, he published a series of 91 successive articles on the theme of the international blue, the world's problem.
What?
So here's the thing, is when I used to hear oh, Ford was an anti-Semite or whatever, and you picture him sitting in his cigar-filled rooms going, you know who I really hate is the blues. But this is him publishing endless news articles being hey, everybody, you need to hate the blues. This is different than I realized his anti-Semitism was.
Yeah, you thought he just said something in an interview that kind of sounded a little, hey, wait a minute. No.
Yeah. You thought it was a Mel Gibson, a tape leaked of him being I hate those N-words. But this is this is way different. Or a good example was Hulk Hogan. A tape came out of Hulk Hogan using the N-word, and he had to tried to deny he's racist the rest of his life. This is not that. This is the man being you know what I need is a newspaper to tell everyone to hate the blues.
Yeah, I want hard evidence about my racism.
Yeah. Um, so it was a classic anti-Semitic propaganda plowing through the well-worn furrows of fear and hatred that the Blues were engaged in global conspiracy to dominate the world. Hitler would develop the same theme in his tract 4 years later. So another important fact, this is coming out just before Hitler starts pumping this stuff out. Do you think there was any connection there?
And I love how a guy whose goal is to like own newspapers and dominate the world is like this group of people is trying to control the world. Like,
yeah, I know. The people that control the world are like, it's these people. Yeah. At the end of the world, Baldur von Schirach, the leader of the Hitler Youth Movement, told the Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal of the impact of Henry Ford's writings. He said, "You have no idea what a great influence his book had on the thinking of German youth. The younger generation looked with envy to the symbols of success and prosperity like Henry Ford. And if he said the Blues were to blame, why, naturally, we believed him." By the end of 1933, his book had gone through 29 editions. On Hitler's coming to power, the book became a staple of the Nazi education system. Some authors have pointed to the great similarity between Ford's book and versions of his articles and a small-time book called Mein Kampf.
so he was the prequel, basically, to Mein Kampf.
The prequel and the inspiration. Yeah, this would be like saying, Star Wars Rogue One wasn't influenced by the earlier Star Wars.
Right. There's no
connection. Some passages are so identical that it has been suggested that Hitler copied large chunks directly from Ford. Hitler plagiarized Mein Kampf from Henry Ford.
Which just like also shows you who Hitler is. He's just such a weasel. He had to plagiarize somebody else's hate speech for his stupid book. It's like,
I know. It's like Hitler couldn't even be original in his anti-Semitism. Like, come up with something new, man. No, he was not very creative. That's why Hitler couldn't get into art school.
And he let a goat bite off his dick or whatever.
What was that?
Didn't the goat bite off part of his dick or something like that?
I haven't heard that one. Is that more Mandela effect?
No, I remember my teacher brought in the TV in high school and made us all watch Hitler getting his dick.
Made us all watch Hitler getting his dick bit off. Yeah, just on loop. Just him and a goat. That was early AI, Graham.
Yeah, it was on Betamax. I remember it quite well. I was there when it happened.
But if you didn't think it could get worse, it gets worse. There's evidence that Ford also contributed financially to Hitler's nascent movement in Germany. There were both ideological and commercial reasons for this. In 1921, Ford had tried to set up production in Germany, but the restrictions being imposed by the Versailles Treaty that ended the First World War made it impossible. So Ford made frequent trips to Germany to consult with the Nazis in the 1920s. According to a 1978 investigation by American author James Poole on he wrote Who Financed Hitler, up to 500,000 gold marks are thought to have been provided by Ford to the Nazis in 1922 and 23. In 24, special Nazi representative Ludecki actually visited Ford at his estate in Michigan. So the Nazis actually sent a rep to hang out with Ford in the United States.
Good. Well, it's good that Ford had a Nazi rep.
Yeah. He was on an American tour specifically for the purpose of raising funds from the German immigrant communities. So Ford also helping fund Hitler.
Oh. That's where the F-150 came from.
That's where yeah. And then there's another thing in this book about how Ford very nearly became president of the United States.
Oh, whoa.
Which means you could have had a Hitler lover as president of the United States. Oh. And, it took all these years and now we're back there.
Yeah, now we're back. Now we've got a
new Hitler lover as president of the United States. car tycoon Henry Ford might well have become the president in 1924, same year he was funding the Nazis, but for the unexpected and possibly suspicious death of his opponent. The incumbent president, Warren Harding, who had been ranked by American historians as one of the worst ever to be president, led a notoriously corrupt administration pockmarked by a series of financial and political scandals. As the controversies mounted in the 1924 election approached, Ford seriously considered running for president. He was at the peak of his popularity. He was hugely influential, had a bunch of newspapers telling people how awful the Blues were. And an influential opinion poll in the summer of 1923 showed that he would easily defeat Harding in the election. So he's headed into the election, knows he can beat the guy, has the money, has the connections. However, Harding up and dies. Some have speculated that he was poisoned by his wife because of his adultery. She refused to allow an autopsy to be held. He was succeeded by his vice president, Calvin Coolidge, a shy, restrained, and eminently cautious character. Crucially, the year left before the election, so still a year out to the election, Coolidge's cool demeanor, get it?
I don't get it.
Sorry, can you start over?
I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Coolidge's calmness restored respectability of the presidency. The country was wealthy and at peace. The economy stable. In 24, Coolidge ran on a campaign slogan of "Keep it cool with Coolidge." Now, do you get it, Graham?
So he liked ice cream? I don't understand.
So wait, was cool a term? But is that when it started? When people started saying cool?
Wow. Coolidge was also there's a famous thing of some reporter came up to him and said, I bet one of the other reporters that I could get you to say more than 3 words. And Coolidge went, "You lose."
So Coolidge easily won the presidency. Ford had seen the change of fortune, probably looked at some polling as well, saying it'd be a tough race and that Coolidge was more liked. He quietly dropped out of the race. If only Harding had been alive, then we likely would have had a Nazi president.
God, I mean,
and then you got to figure going into the run up to World War II, maybe the U.S. would have sided with Nazi Germany.
So one of the unsung heroes of the world is Warren Harding's wife for killing him.
For taking out Harding. Well, not a lot of people appreciate just how beloved Warren Harding's wife should be.
That lady should have some statues and high schools named after her. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, we're gonna go a little long with this episode. Let's move on to our beloved man, Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh no.
And I will say before we get into this, what I'm about to go through doesn't really undo his helping free India. It just means there's some complications.
Oh God. I feel like you're just trying to let me down easy so I don't just start crying and leave or whatever.
Next week, a 5-part episode on how racist the Rockford Files were, or whatever cop shows Graham was watching as a kid.
Oh, Rockford Files is so great. Oh my God. Such a great show. Love that show. Jim Rockford.
Next week on Tearing Apart Graham's Heroes.
Oh God. Captain Kirk was actually dealing blow to the Romulans. What?
And while dealing blow to them, he also said, but I don't want to touch them.
I don't want to touch them because they're filthy. Well, I don't know. I was going to say something, but I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough. The Mahatma's austere lifestyle captured India and the world's imagination. It was, though, supreme political spin long before the term had even been dreamed up. The poverty of his commune was spectacular PR and tellingly fake. An aide famously once bemoaned, "It costs a great deal of money to keep Gandhi in poverty."
Wow. Wow.
The power of his image has always been well nigh impenetrable. I don't know if this guy's British or he just tries to sound like a dick. It's tough to know sometimes the difference. Sometimes it just means the person's British. Sometimes it means they're a douche.
Well, a lot of Brits are douches. You know what I mean? It might just be.
Hey. Revelations of his predilection for allowing quote unquote teenage girls. So this is probably the main negative thing I'd heard about him. Allowing teenage girls from the community of followers he gathered around him at his ashram to sleep naked with him. And thousands hysterically vied for the privilege. And many have said this was Gandhi testing his chastity. So he regularly, and again, I've heard this reported from other sources, he regularly would sleep supposedly next to naked teenage girls to test his chastity.
And when he just go, oh, looks like I failed. Is that it's just like,
damn it, failed again every night.
Tomorrow's going to be different. Tomorrow's going to be different.
Now, I obviously wasn't there. I can't speak to whether he survived these tests or not, but he is also recorded as enduring for his cause nude massages for an hour every day by the same group of girls. They gave him a daily, oh God, I don't know if I can say this, daily salt and water enema as well.
Oh no, what in the sweet Christmas is that? Like, what are you doing? Like, just why does it always got to get weird and like just?
Well, you know what? So I've heard this before with. No, I'm not talking about famous figures, although I'm sure that's true. But with other people who are trying to deny something sexually, so like it doesn't matter who it was, some random dude, but he was. I remember this podcast, and basically he was gay, but he was religious, so he couldn't admit he was gay. And so instead, he had this young man, not underage, like in his 20s, but this young man, and they would regularly, like once a week, go and the young man would give him tattoos. And so he's like below the neck covered in tattoos. And basically, it was, his religion could never allow him to be gay. So instead, he was supplacing it, you know, and if you read a lot of Freud, this is not that like you can see the connection. Like he was replacing sex with tattooing by this young man, and like this sounds similar with Gandhi. Let's give Gandhi the benefit of the doubt that he did not actually act on this stuff. He said, "Oh well, my religion or whatever, you know, laws don't allow me to have sex with these young women, so I will just do everything except that. They'll give me enemas and they'll lay next to me and they'll that's if you give him the benefit of the doubt." But
how does enemas get, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not running around getting enemas from people. Like, what is he talking about? Like, what is
Graham, thou doth protest too much. All right. It seems like every show you try and fit in here that you're not getting enemas from everybody.
Look, just because I have a Bitcoin themed enema bar doesn't mean that I, have a problem.
Listen, I know we're talking about Rosa Parks at the moment. I just like to let everyone know I do not get enemas from everybody.
Look, I'm sorry we're having some tech difficulties. It had nothing to do with the fact that I get enemas because I don't get them. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
I don't know what you're talking about right now. Listen, I got to leave early. It has nothing to do with me getting enemas from everybody I run into, but because I don't do that. That does not happen.
I'm not drinking this glass of water because I'm getting ready for an enema. I'm just thirsty. And I don't know why you keep bringing up enemas.
Gandhi's pacifism was a late arrival in his philosophy.
If we don't start our own punk band called Gandhi's Enema, I don't know what we're doing.
What are we doing with our lives? That is a opportunity missed.
Gandhi's Enema. This is up there with.
Okay, I will. You know, there was always, whenever you hear of a band name, there was always a fight amongst the band as to what it would be. I'm challenging you with enema of the state. Okay, so you're going with Gandhi's enema. I'm going with enema of the state.
Gandhi's enema, man. Listen, this is
How about
huge.
Gandhi, get it? Enema of the state.
This, I swear to God, this is right up there with the Loch Ness Monsters, the mayor of Atlantis.
Loch Ness for mayor of Atlantis. Yes, this needs to be whatever images you show at our live show. For those who don't know, whenever we've had a live show, Graham puts together some sort of slideshow of like random shit we've talked about, and it's pretty amazing. And there's somebody wearing a T-shirt that says Loch Ness for mayor of Atlantis, and you got to add there, Gandhi, enema of the state.
I think we need to have a vote. I'm sorry, I'm not walking away from Gandhi's enema. We got to have a hard vote.
Okay, we'll have a viewer vote, and we'll send it to the viewers. Gandhi, we're changing the name of the show. Do you guys prefer Gandhi's enema? All right.
Look, this is episode 198. We're 2 episodes away from our 200th episode. We need to have a special Gandhi's enema episode. That's just,
true. It's true. I'd love to hear Gandhi try and explain, like when he was trying to explain to the adults in his cult. I'd love to hear him try and explain why it has to be teenage girls that give him the enema.
Yeah, come on.
Listen, look, I know it seems odd, but they're actually the most professional enemas I've ever had. It's got to be a teenage girl.
I mean, this is the thing. An enema, it's nothing sexy about an enema. So I wouldn't want young, beautiful women to be like,
oh, you haven't seen a Gandhi enema, my friend.
I know you want a namaste, but your enema's got a nama go. Is that what's happening?
Gandhi's pacifism was a late arrival in his philosophy. In his formative years in South Africa, he eagerly volunteered to raise an Indian brigade for the British Army in the Boer War. The authorities were not convinced of the value of the men and eventually trained them as stretcher bearers, only stretcher bearers, because in the words of one biographer of the relentless importuning of Gandhi. What is importuning?
I think it's a Hindu word for enema.
Oh, relentless enemas of Gandhi. Dude, adding the word relentless to enema is, that's the roughest thing I've ever heard. No one has ever advertised their services by our enemas are relentless. It's a cartoon of them chasing a guy down the street.
This is why I wish I was a billionaire, because I would just buy billboard space that say our enemas are relentless. Just
oh God. Relentless. Welcome to Jim's Enemas. Our enemas are relentless.
Need an enema? We'll help you fast. Call 1-800.
I'll tell you one thing you want to hear going in to get an enema is we don't take no for an answer. We're relentless.
Relentless. You're getting an enema today, and it's not stopping. It's going to be just nonstop.
All right. As Sergeant Major, he won medals in both the
Sergeant Major enema. I can't handle this.
As Sergeant Major, his relentless enemas became known worldwide.
He headed up the relentless enema brigade of the British military.
Come on, Graham, I got to focus here. He won medals in both the Boer War and the Zulu War. I'll tell you, any war where they're chasing you with enemas is not a bore. Okay, it's a lot of things. It's scary, it's relentless, but it's not a bore. Bore is not on the list.
It's the relentless enema war is what it was, dude. Oh, Sergeant Major enema. Oh, This is fantastic. Somebody please make a poster or a t-shirt with Gandhi as a sergeant major with an enema.
Gandhi, enema of the state.
I'm begging you, internet, do your job. This is
what Al Gore created you for.
This is your whole purpose in life, is to make this image and put it on Twitter and tag both of us.
Even in the later days of the anti-British campaign in India itself, he approved of conflict. He endorsed vicious, and here's the thing, there's a fair debate that maybe conflict was what was needed to some degree, even though he is known for his pacifism. So I don't know that I'm of the things to hate Gandhi for, this one I don't know that I'm that.
I mean, the British Empire, they deserved a little war ring. And I will say this too, if I was getting relentless enemas, I'd be looking to fight too. I would just be really pissed off and wanting to fight everybody if I just had nonstop relenting enemas,
And by the way, this is the best review of our show. Thank you, David's Vegan.
You got it, brother. Thank you, David.
He endorsed vicious rioting in Calcutta on the grounds that it was using violence in a moral cause. He gave his blessing to the princely ruler, the Nawab of Malakotla, who issued orders to shoot 10 Muslims for every Hindu killed in his territory in a prayer meeting in June 1947. Okay, that's getting beyond just like we're ready to fight and into like kill innocent people to scare them.
Wow.
So that's a little worse. A few months before his death, is this Gandhi's death or the other guys? I think this is not Gandhi, I think.
This is the only show in the world where we go from talking about relentless enemas to Gandhi killing Muslims.
Well, let's be clear. Gandhi didn't kill any Muslims. He just endorsed.
Sure. Got it.
So this ruler of Malakotla, who Gandhi endorsed, he told his audience, maybe this was Gandhi. This sentence is poorly written, and it's unclear whether they're talking about Gandhi said this or that Prince guy did. But anyway, the quote is, if we had the atom bomb, we would have used it on the British.
Well, that's that one I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Like that.
I actually can find out the answer of who said this by looking up Gandhi's death. Okay. So that quote is not from Gandhi because it says a few months. Oh no, it is from Gandhi. A few months before his death. So he said in June 1947, and Gandhi did die January 30th, 1948. So I'm assuming they are talking about Gandhi here. So he said, if we had the atom bomb, we would have used it against the British. That's an interesting form of pacifism. Anyway.
Yeah, that's just like, that's why I'm still like getting too many enemas makes you just want to bomb everybody and call yourself a pacifist. Dude,
it can have some lasting ramifications to be over enemaed. Gandhi. Oh, these enemas are relentless.
Somebody stop the enemas.
Gandhi pioneered the tactic of fasting as a political protest. He later used it to effect against the British, but his first use in 1932 was for distinctly unappealing reasons. As a higher caste Hindu, he was opposing a proposal by the British authorities to grant the untouchables. So most people know this, but the lowest caste in India is called the untouchables for obvious reasons. He was opposing a proposal by the British government to grant the untouchables a separate electorate to enable their interests to be better represented. So early in Gandhi's career, he was so unhappy with the untouchables getting some kind of representation that he declared he would fast to the death.
Oh, wow. Boy, that's really left out of the liberal history books, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's not in there. It lasted 5 days after Hindu leaders put pressure on the Untouchables leader to reject the British reforms. So basically, it only stopped because he didn't need to keep doing it, not because he lost. I mean, not because he lost.
Wow.
Gandhi's poverty and opposition to all things modern was the backbone of his philosophy. He declared his hatred of modern industry and communications, deplored the invention of the telegraph, radio, and telephone, yet later broadcast extensively on national radio during his high-profile fasts as his campaign for independence reached its crescendo. So,
which was, I think, wasn't it called the Midnight Enema Hour?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep. It was called the Rear Side Chats.
Free-flowing conversation on the Ghandi.
Backside Chats. Every evening he had a backside chat alongside his relentless enema teenage girls.
Oh, that was the greatest radio show ever.
So he was a bit of a hypocrite on this regard. Now, I will say that it's become normal in our current age for apparently anybody with any kind of platform, just endless hypocrite. Like you can act like you're for Bernie Sanders one year, then you support Trump the next. Doesn't matter, apparently. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I was always, I continue to stick by this like ridiculous idea that I should like stand for something that kind of like perseveres through time.
Yeah, that's where you get it wrong, Lee. You got to just be like, just Tulsi Gabbard your way through life.
I will say he did stick with the belief of relentless enemas. He did. That was throughout. He rejected modern medicine and refused to allow his wife to have a penicillin injection when she contracted pneumonia. She died as a result. However, he himself found it acceptable to take quinine later on to cure his own malaria. So maybe with all the teenage girls by his side, he didn't mind getting his wife out of the way.
Wow. Yeah, no doubt.
His historical image now is as the man suffering on behalf of humanity and living by the unselfish deed, a leap beyond the mean and sullied world of politics. In reality, he was also a manipulator, as many best-known leaders are. Years before the dark arts of image management became the driving force of modern politics. It was often remarked that Gandhi was a man out of his time. They didn't know how true that was.
Wow.
All right. I will wrap there for this week.
This was a mega episode. This episode was relentless.
This was a relentless episode, really was.
This was a digital relentless enema, this episode. Like, really, you should take this episode and stick it up your ass is what you should do.
Of all of our backside episodes we've had, this was the best of them. Yeah.
Oh, this book you've got, Lee, is fantastic. It's just
the motto of the Relentless Enema place around the corner is, don't want that enema? Well, you're gone to get it.
You jackass. You jackass.
I think it's a pretty good slogan. They sell the t-shirts. So.
Or you're gone to get it. Oh, God. Oh. I'm going to open up a smoothie bar just so I can have one of the smoothies called Gandhi's Enema. That's really...
Sounds delish, Graham. Really sounds
And if you buy the big souvenir cup, instead of saying it's free refills, it'll just be relentless. It's just relentless smoothie.
we get relentless smoothies till you hate smoothies. All right, folks, but the show will not end there. We're going to run and do a real quick extra segment over on Patreon, patreon.com/government secrets. The moment you sign up for whatever it is, $6 or something, you unlock 90 some extra segments. And so, yeah, if you're looking for more, that's where you get it.
and is quite literally the only way this show makes any money at all. So anything that you can do
yeah, that's it.
So if you could please go to Patreon, you get a lot of fun. You can get actually the only place you can get any government secrets merchandise.
We don't sell the branded enemas yet.
No, but we're going to have an enema tier, a Patreon enema tier, and where Lee and I will come to your house and give you an enema.
Yeah.
Also go to grahamelwood.com and support my GoFundMe. It's almost done to shoot this late night talk show here. We're going to shoot the pilot at the end of April. So anything you can throw at it to help get that show done and off the air. I was just looking at spaces today. So go to grahamelwood.com.
So we'll see you at the extra segment, but also I have been posting a lot of columns at my Substack. If you want to know the real reasons that we're bombing the shit out of Iran right now, and it's not the ones you're hearing, then that's at reallycamp.substack.com. While I would love for you to become a paying subscriber there, all of that is not behind a paywall, so you can just go read it, reallycamp.substack.com. You can also subscribe for free there, even if you are thinking like, fuck Lee Camp, I'm not giving him the price of a beer. You could still sign up for free. So.
Thank you, Ratso B. Harris, for the super chat, and we will be over at Government Secrets. I'm sorry, at patreon.com/government secrets. We'll be over there in a couple of minutes. So please join us.
See you later.
Thanks, everybody.